What's going on, folks? So this is going to be a little bit of a different video. In this one, I've got 6 tips for online entrepreneurs that helped me lose 12 pounds or so in about 4 weeks to kick off 2025. Right now, I'm not a fitness guy. I never will be a fitness guy, but I wanted to drop some weight to start the year, and I'm still going. I'm still on this journey, and I know this is something that a lot of people struggle with. The fitness industry makes it so fucking complicated when it's really not. And so I wanted to share the tips with you that I wish I'd kind of had rolling into this and have figured out pretty quickly over the last month. Okay, so first one, I've been in and out of the gym for years. I would have periods of being very consistent with it, then something had happened, get sick, travel, all these kind of things, and I'd lose like kind of motivation for it, then I'd stop and then get back into it, and so on and so forth. So consistently inconsistent would be the best way to put it. But I'd never stopped to really dial in the nutrition piece. I'd played around with meal timing, which we're going to talk a little bit about. I'd played around with like just eyeballing it and being like, yeah, you know, kind of have a smaller lunch, bigger dinner, I should be able to drop some weight, all this kind of shit. Or, you know, removing a certain food group, like stopping drinking for a while, or, you know, I'm going to eat less cut, like all this usual shit. I pretty much over the years did most variations short of actually picking up my phone and tracking the exact calories of what I was putting in my mouth, okay? And for whatever reason, this time I decided, you know what, fuck it. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it properly. There's multiple reasons behind why I wanted to lean up a bit, but that can be a story for another day. And so I got the MyFitnessPal app, paid to get the upgrade so that I can, you know, track the individual macros and do all the kind of extra shit. And actually started like very, very meticulously tracking the calories. And rapidly, it was illuminating. And I would highly, highly recommend that you do this, at least for a little while. I don't intend to do it forever. I'll keep doing it in the immediate term. I've got a clear goal that I'm working towards, and so I'll keep doing it as I work towards that goal. But I would recommend that you do it. Give it a month. And track it meticulously. Like I've been like weighing like every single thing to really get as accurate as possible indication. And unsurprisingly, the weight's fallen off, right? Now, in terms of calories, there's a lot of different kind of schools of thought on this. I've been kind of loosely following Kino Body, Gregor Gallagher's stuff, and on his like aggressive fat loss training, he recommends take your body weight and kind of times it by 10 to 11 in pounds, body weight in pounds, times it by 10 to 11. So currently I'm doing about 2,200 calories a day. For context, I'm 186 centimeters, which I think is like 6'1". I started this at 94 kilos, which is 207 to 210 pounds ish, and I'm currently at 88.3 kilos. So it's around a 12-pound kind of drop in 4 weeks, and that was the guidance. It's like 10 to 11 times your body weight in pounds. So if you're setting your target, set there. In terms of the individual macros and tracking, I'm not really giving a shit about the blend of carbs and fats. I'm eating all of them. There's no like no fat or no carbs. I'm eating all of them. The one thing I am focused on is, because I'm in the gym, is I'm making sure I'm getting north of 160 grams of protein per day. Some days that's higher, some days it's closer towards the 160, but I want to land in that like 160 to 200 ideally range to support any muscle growth possible. Being in a calorie deficit, it's not going to be huge, but there may be a little bit, and definitely to support not losing muscle, maintenance of the muscle during this period. Okay, so that's the first one, is don't do what I did, which is try everything but just track the numbers. Once you get, I reckon it was a bit of a pain in the ass for like the first 3 or 4 days. Then you get in the habit of it. It's actually kind of enjoyable. That said, I could see how it could become a little bit toxic because you very rapidly become, really, really conscious of it. But give it a go for a little while, just so that when you are eyeballing things in the future, it's going to be a lot more accurate, particularly around like oils that you might use to cook and cheese that you're putting on stuff. And then just certain foods are like way higher than you'd expect. Some stuff is way lower than you would expect as well. Okay, that would be my first tip. The second tip is I would narrow in on things that you really, really, really like, and then spin off multiple kind of variations of them so that you can eat as much of them as possible. So let me give you some context. I love steak and I love burgers, right? Like typically not the most healthy things. I pretty much eat steak every night, and we have all different variations of how we make it. So one night I might do it, in a bowl with cut up some potatoes with a bit of olive oil, air fry them, then put some salad on top with a bit of sauce, and just kind of meat and potatoes and sauce and salad, like goodness. Some days I might just have it like traditionally as a steak with some potatoes and some salad. Some nights I might put it in more of like a bowl style with rice and different types of salad and different sauces and different flavors. Liana makes tacos from scratch, and so some nights I'll use it in tacos. And so I like eating steak every night that we're home. At least if we go out, it's a little bit of a different story, but every night that we're home, pretty much I'm having steak, either I fillet, Scotch fillet, or rump. And so we have all these different variations of how I can make that, and that makes dinner very, very enjoyable. And then on the burgers side of things, there's 2 tips around this. But if you're making them at home, just be conscious of the stuff that you're putting on them, like the sauce or buttering the buns, or the types of buns that you're buying, or the meat that you're using if you're making your own patties. But come up with all these different variations that can fit within your daily structure, and it's very possible that you can build a diet plan where you get to eat a lot of the stuff that you love. It might just be slightly modified, right? It might just have to be slightly modified. So like instead of mayonnaise, for example, I've been using Greek yogurt, right? And then mixing in garlic and stuff like that. And it quickly cuts the calories down in a pretty aggressive way. So, most days I'm having if I'm at home, I'm having a burger for lunch. If I'm in the office, I could bring in leftovers. The other thing that I've been doing a bit is if I'm in here, there's like some really, really good pre-made meals right now. Are these perfect and ideal? No, but it's convenient. And so find like the quick and easy stuff that can fit within the goal that you're ultimately shooting for, with a focus on the calories and the protein would be my advice. Point number 3, or tip number 3, continuing on this point, is scope out the best options at each of the takeaway places in your area, right? So like there's a dude on this floor that I'm good mates with. We don't share an office, but we've got an office in close proximity. And so we like to go out for lunch quite a bit. It's pretty easy to blow out calories when you start eating out if you aren't careful, right? And so there's a couple of places that we might go, but we've got a burger chain in Australia called Grilled. And so find the thing on the menu that fits your situation best. And they've got this like spicy chicken burger called the Hot Bird. It's like 430 calories, 40 something grams of protein. They also have like these chicken bites that are like another 200 and something calories and another 25 grams of protein. So you can go out and have good lunch, 700 calories, pushing 70 grams of protein. And then you can get like a diet drink. Some people may like that, some people not, to kind of wash it down for very, very few calories. And so you can still go out and enjoy it. You've just got to alter the choices that you're making in these places, like leaving the chips, leaving the sweet potato fries, all that kind of stuff. I just had Subway for lunch. There's a Subway under my office. I love Subway. And I used to get like either the chicken schnitzel or like something that's a lot more. They've got a calculator on their website, and I just found the lowest calorie, highest protein, right? And so I got like 70 grams of protein for like 730 calories, which still leaves me heaps for dinner. tonight, right? And so the takeaway places that you like or are in your area, you don't have to stop going, just alter the choice to the one that best fits, right? Tip number 4 is I would recommend, and it's going to depend on your job. Like if you work a heavy labor job, like physical labor, this is going to be hard to do. But if you work an office job, this is pretty easy, and this is like a massive hack, is back end your calories to the end of the day, right? So through the day, up until dinner, now I've got an 18-month-old son, so we're eating dinner pretty early. We're eating dinner at like 5:30. But up until 5:30, I'm very rarely consuming more than like, probably the max is like 800 calories, right? And that could be a slightly smaller lunch of like 500 and then a snack, or it could be like today I had Subway, it was like 750. And so that'll be pretty much all I'll eat until dinner. But I played around initially with like eating more at breakfast, and what I found was it just cut way too much into dinner, and I was ultimately going to bed hungry. And I don't know about you, but I just cannot get a good night's sleep when I'm hungry, right? And so I need more calories at night to be able to get a really, really good night's sleep. Like there's no better feeling. You have a massive meal at the end of the day and doze off, with a full belly. It's great. So that would be my advice. And again, a shout out to Kino Body and Greg there, because 2 things that make it easier throughout the day: sparkling water definitely helps, keeps you hydrated. If you get the flavored one, tastes good, no sugar. Get the no added sugar stuff, and it will fill you up. Not for ages, but at least for a little while. And black coffee is a proven appetite suppressant, and so have that. Obviously, don't push it too late into the day. Some people will say don't drink it after your first kind of meal. There's lots of different schools. You don't have to, like I might have an afternoon coffee, black coffee, kind of 4 out of 5 days that I'm in the office, just because I like having a coffee of the afternoon, right? But I would recommend pushing the calories out. If you're someone that's always had breakfast, and particularly always had a big breakfast, you're probably going to need like a good 2-week adjustment period. I've been eating like this for a long time, where I just don't really have breakfast. I've never been a big breakfast person. And so this wasn't really a huge adjustment for me. Okay. Tip number 5, and this is going to depend if you've got a sweet tooth or not. I would recommend leaving 200 to 400 calories for dessert. Okay. I don't even have a massive sweet tooth, but there is something, like I really don't get sweet cravings throughout the day, but there is something very enjoyable about after dinner, after a long day, being able to sit down and have something sweet. It is at that point of the day that I can appreciate it, but through the day I'm not really, like I don't get cravings to sit here and have a chocolate bar or anything like that. But at the end of the day, it's nice to sit down and have something sweet. And so I would recommend you kind of backfill from there, and you go, right, well, I want to leave 200 to 400 at the end of the day, so that you can still do that. And I've got an extra tip around that shortly. And so all these things are kind of stacking together, right? Like if you want to have a big meal at dinner and you want to leave kind of 200 to 400 calories for dessert, you really don't have a lot of wriggle room throughout the day. And so the skipping the breakfast becomes important. The appetite suppressant strategies throughout the day become important, and your lunch choice becomes very, very, very important. And so you want to have that dialed in, because if you can nail the time you wake up until 5 p.m., 6 p.m., whenever you have dinner, you can kind of let loose a bit at night. I also love I don't know what the right word is. I love just the structure of that approach, because it feels very natural. It's like we wake up, have a bit of coffee, get your energy up, get into the day, work hard all day, and then at night, with the family, have a big meal. I don't have to sit there fucking like cutting my lettuce with a knife and fork, and we can go to a friend's place for dinner and I can get pizza. Like if I've got 1,500 calories left at the end of the day, I'm really not limited. I just got to make sure I'm getting enough protein to kind of round it out, right? And is this 100% optimal dieting? No, but it works, right? And so that's where it fits, right? Like I feel better working through the day when I limit the calories through the day, but I also sit at a desk and do online work. I'm not, laying bricks. And so this advice is obviously for someone kind of like me, right? Tip number 6 would be add steps wherever possible. I've always been pretty good on the steps front. I was looking at my numbers for last year, and I think I averaged like 7,000 to 8,000 a day, which isn't amazing, but it's not terrible at the same time, especially for someone who, you know, works on a computer for the middle part of any given day. But I've been aiming to bump that up to like 10 to 12,000. And so a couple of things that I've done is walking to and from work when it's not like swelteringly hot. It's summer at the moment here, so it gets pretty warm. But I've been walking home because it's cooler of an afternoon. This is silly, but I worked out that if I do a lap of my floor, it's 100 steps. So if I'm reading something that I'm about to publish, or even if I'm like typing an email, I could type a long email, or if I'm, you know, listening to something, I can just do laps of the floor. I might look like a crazy person, but I know if I do 10 laps, it's 1,000 steps. And that really adds up, right? Like you do that, you're 10% of your way for your entire day. It doesn't take that long. So find little, you know, paths like that. The other thing is, if you're going into the gym while you're doing this, get there 15 minutes earlier, or stay 15 minutes longer, or both, and put a bit of walking either side, right? If you do all three of those things, you'll cruise 10 to 12,000 steps a day. It's just about finding the integration, as opposed to trying to carve out like, oh my God, I've got to find like an hour and a half to go for this massive walk. Because most people just don't have that time. Like I know if I tried to find another hour and a half in my daily schedule, it'd be taking time out from being with Hendrik, being with Liana. It'd be tricky. And so that's around steps. And then tip number 7. This is I'm going to call this a bonus tip, because I did say six tips. So this is a bonus one, but and this is a very, very fresh one because I only got this yesterday. We just bought a Ninja Creamy, and this ties into the dessert point. But we had them for the first time last night. I literally just made a protein shake and put it in, and then spun it, like after it was frozen, and then spun it and made ice cream. And oh my God, it was fucking amazing. And it was like 300 calories and like 30 something grams of protein. And I put mini M&Ms in it, and it made like nearly a whole pint. And so at the end of the day, while I'm dieting, while I'm losing weight, I'm able to slam like a pint of ice cream. If you do all these things, I think you can make weight loss pretty effortless. This last month for me has been very, very illuminating, because it's felt very easy because of these things. Okay, now these are some things I've been aware of, but they're also some things that I've kind of picked up in real time. So if you've got some weight you want to drop, and you want to make it as easy as possible, I think if you layer all these things together, it's enjoyable, right? Like I'm still eating at the places I was eating before, just making different choices. I'm still eating the food I was eating before, steak and burgers and stuff at home, but I'm just making different choices. I'm tracking the calories instead of ignoring it, and it's really, really, really helped. Back-ending the calories to the end of the day so that I can have that big feast at the end of the day, leaving room for dessert so that, you know, end of the day, Liana and I can sit down and watch some TV, have some dessert, and then just baking throughout the day, being intentional and conscious about the steps. Get it up to 10, 11, 12,000, you'll be flying, right? Hopefully you found this helpful. Like I said, I'm no fitness influencer. I have no plan on being a fitness influencer. I love food. I like my wine. I did cut that out as well. That's another thing I've cut out this month, which helps on the calorie front. I won't be cutting it out forever because I really enjoy good red wine, but I'll be adjusting volume, and I'll just be a lot more conscious of it going forward. So that's just from, you know, a normal guy running a business who's busy with family, all these kind of things, wanted to drop some weight. That's what's worked for me so far, and I'm really, really enjoying it. And if it's enjoyable, you're going to be consistent with it. So I hope you found that helpful. Cheers.